Terraforming Hell. We called it Project Eden because, as we all know, we humans have a penchant for irony. I was standing on the surface of this god-forsaken rock, watching the first wisps of thickened atmosphere swirl in slow-motion spirals, heavy with oxygen we'd breathed into being. Around me, the land was flat and barren, a cracked plain of blackened stone that reached out in all directions like a skeletal hand stretching toward the horizon. Once, it had been a world of life and civilization, but that was millennia ago. Now it was a husk, a graveyard of forgotten things, and we were determined to bring it back to life. The day I set foot on the ground was like any other. The sky, a bruised shade of purple, hung low, churning with the efforts of our terraforming engines. The machines groaned and spat gouts of vapor into the air, artificial weather systems sculpting an atmosphere from the ruins of the past. The air was thin yet tangibly thickening, and the dust of ages hung in it, coating everything in a fine, bitter grit. They hadn't told us much about what happened here, about the species that lived and died on this world, but we all knew the basics. Ancient, highly advanced, fell apart in some sort of cataclysm, the usual story. And why should it matter? They were long gone, their cities just teeth of broken stone, and the soil was empty of life. We had swept across their world, our probes probing, our drones clearing away the centuries of dust. It was a blank slate, the perfect place to begin again. So why did it feel like we were desecrating something sacred? Maybe it was the quiet. There's a kind of silence that isn't the absence of sound, but the presence of everything that could have been. The emptiness you hear when you're the only person alive in a place where so many others once were. There were days, weeks even, when it was just me and the machines, and the voice in the back of my mind that kept asking, what if we're waking something up? The first signs were easy to dismiss. Dust devils spiraling in unnatural patterns, static on the comms, the occasional shadow caught in the corner of my eye, slipping around the edges of my vision like an old memory trying to force its way back. I blamed fatigue. Working day in and day out to bring life to a place that didn't seem to want it could do that to a person. It could make you see things, make you think things. But it wasn't long before I realized that I wasn't the only one. Others started talking. Whispers on the secure channels, hushed conversations in the mess hall. Some said they'd seen lights in the distance, faint and flickering, out where no human had yet set foot. Others swore they heard voices on the wind, speaking in languages no one could recognize. I tried not to listen to them. After all, people get jumpy in places like this. Isolation plays tricks on the mind. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. It was like the air itself had grown thicker, not just with oxygen, but with presence, an awareness slowly awakening from some ancient slumber. And then came the first body. We found it near one of the excavation sites, lying among the ruins. It wasn't one of ours. It wasn't even entirely, well, real, if you get what I mean. It was like something had tried to remember how to put together a body, but only got part of the way there. The form was there, sort of, a twisted silhouette of bones and tendons that didn't quite hold the right shape, wrapped in a translucent film like wet paper. The eyes, or the dark hollows where eyes should have been, stared up blankly, and when we tried to move it, the thing just crumbled into dust. We'd woken something, all right. But it wasn't alive, not really. More like echoes trying to take form, fragments of a species long dead, now struggling to rebuild itself from the ruin. They'd left pieces of themselves behind, remnants of thought, patterns etched into the very fabric of the world. The more we pushed the terraforming, the more the atmosphere thickened and life began to take root, the more those pieces came together. And they were angry. I wish I could say that I figured it out before things got out of hand, that we had some great revelation about what was happening and could have stopped it. But the truth is, we were in over our heads before we even knew we'd tripped. One day it was just the ghostly shapes, shadow things that dissolved in the light. Then the next, they had substance. They crawled from the ground, half-formed horrors, writhing out of the soil like worms from a rotting corpse. It was as though the very act of bringing life back to this world had driven them mad, the memories and souls of the lost civilization clawing their way up from whatever hell they'd been consigned to. I was there when the first of our own died, killed by hands that weren't hands, crushed under bodies that weren't bodies. I saw the way those things tore at us, not with hate but with desperation, as if we were the intruders in some nightmare that they couldn't wake up from. And maybe we were. God knows we've made a habit of it, haven't we? Wandering out into the dark, looking for new places to tame, never asking if there might be things that don't want to be tamed. They called for evacuation, but by then it was too late. The air was alive with them, the screams and the shapes dancing through the mists of our creation. We couldn't see the boundary between our world and theirs anymore. It was like the atmosphere itself was unraveling, pulling apart the seams between the past and the present, between the living and the dead. Every breath I took was heavy with the weight of their lost lives, and the thought that kept pounding in my head was this: we didn't give them back their world. We gave them back their suffering. We should have let it be. We should have seen the signs, listened to the unease that crawled in our guts. I should have listened to the quiet that spoke louder than any of the voices on the comms. But we didn't. We couldn't. We were so fixated on bringing life to a dead world that we didn't think about what kind of life was waiting there to be found. I remember the last thing I saw before we made the final push for the evac ship. A figure standing out in the haze, too real to be an illusion, but too wrong to be alive. Its skin was pale and stretched too thin, like it had been burned away and rebuilt over and over again. Its eyes glowed, not with anger, but with something far more terrifying: recognition. It looked at me, and I knew in that moment that whatever it had once been, it remembered what it was supposed to be. It was one of them, trying to be whole again, trying to claw its way back from the edge of oblivion that we had dragged it to. As the engines roared and the ground fell away beneath us, I couldn't help but feel that we hadn't escaped at all. The air inside the ship was thick with the same weight, the same presence that had clung to the planet's surface. We had awakened something there, and it hadn't stayed behind. It had followed us into the sky, into the vacuum of space, and into the darkness between the stars. We thought we were bringing life back to a dead world, but instead we'd given hell a reason to live. Now, I can't shake the thought that somewhere out there, in the vastness of space, that planet is still breathing in the atmosphere we left behind, its twisted creatures crawling through the ruins of their civilization, searching for a way to become real again. And maybe, just maybe, they're waiting for us to come back. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's this: there's no such thing as a dead world. There are only places that sleep and things that wait to wake up.